I always believed loyalty held a home together. Quiet mornings, shared routines, respect earned over decades. I never expected betrayal to enter my life through something as small as a desk drawer. It happened on a Tuesday. Donald had just stepped into the shower after his tennis session at the club. I needed a charging cable. I opened the top drawer in his study without thinking. His phone buzzed. The name on the screen might as well have been a slap. Yvonne. A red heart next to her name. I should have closed the drawer and walked away. Instead, I tapped the message thread and scrolled. Nothing dramatic. Simple lines that cut clean. See you at the condo. Same time. Last night was worth every minute. I will book the return flight. Nothing dramatic in tone, yet my pulse felt loud in my ears. I did not cry. I did not gasp. I took a slow breath and placed the phone exactly as I found it. The air in that room felt cold and neat. I walked to the kitchen, made coffee, and sat down like nothing had shifted. In that moment, I decided anger would not control me. I would not become loud or frantic. I would not be easy to read. I would learn the full truth. Welcome and God bless you, my friends, for joining me today. Tell me what time it is where you are watching from. I am always excited to see how far these stories go. Do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any uploads. Let's get back to my story. The next morning, a knock sounded at the door. A delivery driver handed me a certified envelope from Nevada. The return address said Clark County Recorder. I thanked him, closed the door, and walked to my bedroom closet. I sat on a small bench, opened the envelope, and stared at the paper inside. Donald's full name. Yvonne Jeff is listed as the spouse. The ceremony date was last spring. A chapel address near the Las Vegas Strip. A witness signature I recognized from a holiday card on our mantle. My fingers felt steady. My breathing stayed even. I folded the record, slid it into my jewelry box, and locked it. I looked at myself in the mirror. Calm face, steady eyes. Years of marriage had trained me to keep my posture no matter what came at me. I had hosted fundraisers, comforted friends through losses, managed a household, and raised a son who trusted stability. Donald's choice did not break me. It clarified everything. He thought I would never check. He thought I would never notice. A man grows careless when he thinks loyalty blinds a woman. He did not know me as well as he assumed. When he returned from his so-called business trip that evening, he kissed my cheek and complimented the way the house looked. He poured his usual whiskey and asked about my day. He talked about a development project as if nothing around him carried cracks. I listened, nodded, and served dinner. I watched the way he held his fork, confident, relaxed, as if he owned the quiet in the room. He did not know that the same quiet now belonged to me. He did not notice anything in my expression. Years of practice keeping a calm surface had prepared me for this better than I ever expected. After dinner, he settled in to watch the news. I excused myself and went upstairs. I sat at my vanity and opened a notebook. I wrote one sentence. He married someone else. Then I wrote another. I will act on my timeline. I closed the notebook, put on night cream, brushed my hair, and got into bed. Donald came up an hour later, tired and smug. He kissed my forehead and called me his rock. I let him believe it. Quiet planning gives power time to form. Rushing serves the liar. Silence serves the wronged. Before sleep came, I whispered to myself, this will not end the way he expects. I felt steady. I felt present. Betrayal did not make me weak. It made me aware. What would you do if you found out that your spouse secretly married someone else while still living with you? Should I confront immediately or plan quietly like I did? Comment below. I honestly want to know how you would feel. The morning after I found the marriage certificate, Atlanta felt louder than usual. Cars passed, birds chirped, and gardeners trimmed hedges on the street, yet all of it sounded distant. Betrayal sharpens awareness. it also clears priorities. Before sunrise, I walked to the kitchen, brewed coffee, and sat by the window. I did not cry. I did not shake. I planned. I pulled the house file from the safe. It had sat untouched for years, organized and heavy. I placed each sheet on the dining table. The original deed had my maiden name from when I purchased the property with inheritance money. Later documents included a quitclaim deed adding Donald. The signature on that quitclaim forced me to pause. The handwriting looked close to mine, yet not right. A practiced mimic. The notary stamp bothered me too. I remembered nothing about signing that. I examined dates twice. Dates do not lie. People do. I slipped the questionable documents into a folder and dialed Sandra Patel, my attorney. Sandra had helped me years ago when my aunt left me the trust. She was fair, sharp, and never rushed to speak. She agreed to meet me that afternoon in her Buckhead office. I showered, dressed, and put on a string of pearls. A calm presentation is not vanity. It is armor. At Sandra's office, the quiet hum of air conditioning and clean office scent felt grounding. I handed her the folder. She scanned each page with controlled focus. She pointed her pen at the forged signature, then tapped the date line. Her voice stayed level. "You never signed this." I met her eyes. "No." She flipped to the notary stamp. "This can be challenged. If proven fraudulent, the property belongs to you alone again. Nothing moves without your consent." I nodded. She continued. "The marriage certificate from Nevada, you have a copy?" I confirmed. "Bigamy is a crime," she said. "You hold the advantage. Do not reveal your knowledge too soon." So I was right. Quiet power grows when truth stands behind it. Sandra asked, "What outcome do you want?" "I want what is mine," I answered. "I do not want his voice deciding my life." She leaned back and offered a faint, approving smile, not joyful, respectful. She drafted a plan. Request notary logs, request recorder confirmation, secure title, document timelines. She reminded me to stay cordial at home until each step settled. Rage can ruin leverage. Silence protects it. As I left, the receptionist smiled and asked how my day was going. I answered simply, "Productive." I stepped outside, let the warm Atlanta sun touch my face, and exhaled. The city moved around me like any ordinary day. My life, however, had shifted into strategy. I drove home without music. I needed a clear head. Donald's car was not in the driveway, which gave me time. I placed the legal folder back in my safe and locked it. Then I opened my recipe drawer. I pulled out ingredients for roasted chicken and lemon green beans. When a home shakes, routines steady the ground. Donald arrived later with the same confident posture. He kissed my cheek lightly. "Long day," he said. "Client meeting in Buckhead. Traffic was terrible." Lies often arrive wrapped in small complaints. I asked if he wanted dinner. He nodded and sat at the counter scrolling through his phone. I moved around the kitchen, measuring spices, plating food, responding calmly when he asked about my afternoon. I said I visited a friend and did some organizing. He believed me. Men like Donald do not check the details of a woman's day when they assume she exists only in service of theirs. We ate quietly. He complimented the chicken. I thanked him. After we finished, I washed dishes while he talked about a possible real estate investment in Florida. I listened and nodded. His plans did not matter now. Mine did. Later, I sat in bed with a book open yet unread. My mind repeated Sandra's words. "You hold the advantage." I had spent a lifetime supporting a home. Now I would protect it. not through rage, through intelligence, patience, and precision. When Donald fell asleep, I looked at him for a moment, not with love or anger, with clarity, trust gone, peace gone, but strength fully awake. Some truths shift a marriage quietly. Some truths end it without a sound. Do you think patience during betrayal gives a person more control than confrontation? Tell me your view in the comments. I still kept the marriage certificate locked away. Each morning, I moved with a calm routine. Breakfast, dishes, water the garden. No hint that I held proof that could shatter a life. Betrayal does not always hit with screams. Sometimes it lands quietly and grows into a strategy. On Friday, I called Denise, my longtime friend and realtor. We met at a small cafe near Peachtree Road. I sat at a corner table first and kept my voice low when she arrived. She noticed I looked more controlled than usual. I told her I wanted to discuss selling my home. No drawn story, no tears, just a clear, steady request. She blinked once, taken by surprise. "Now?" she asked. "Yes," quietly, fast close. She nodded and shifted into professional mode. "I have a buyer, New York Group. They pay cash for privacy and speed. They have asked me about your neighborhood twice this month." I told her I wanted to move fast, but without Donald knowing. She did not flinch. Women learn how to understand each other without long explanations. She wrote notes, sent a few quick messages, and by the time we paid the check, she already had an interested buyer reviewing photos from a past appraisal. Driving home, I felt my shoulders lift. Power never comes from shouting. It comes from planning without shaking. When I entered the house, everything looked the same. Polished floors, fresh flowers from the garden, family pictures on the hall table. I stared at a framed photo of our anniversary trip. Smiles, matching outfits, and an image of stability. I lifted the frame, paused, and placed it in a storage bin. I was not packing out of sadness. I packed to prepare for my life without that staged lie. I called the cleaning crew for the next morning. Deep clean, fresh linens. Professional staging focuses on smooth impressions, so I removed personal touches. I boxed photos, heirlooms, and old letters. Then I walked through each room and pictured how a buyer would view it. Space matters. Fresh flowers, clean countertops, quiet luxury. My life had trained me to present perfection. Now I use that skill to exit. Mid-afternoon, Denise called. They want to see it tomorrow. I told her I would make sure the house looked ready. My voice did not shake. If anything, I felt stronger. This home had been a symbol of our shared life. Now it was an asset I would reclaim. By evening, I had fresh pillow covers, subtle candles, and soft lighting set. I worked like someone arranging a holiday dinner. Calm, precise, intentional. Halfway through fluffing cushions in the living room, I heard the garage door. My stomach tightened for a second. Donald never returned before 6 on Fridays. He walked in, tennis bag slung over his shoulder, sweat on his collar. He stopped in the doorway, eyes trailing over the arrangement of flowers and organized surfaces. "Are we hosting someone?" he asked. I offered a simple smile. "Just keeping things fresh. Church ladies may stop by." He shrugged and walked to the bar to pour mineral water. He talked about a potential investor meeting. I nodded, grateful the staging looked like normal tidying instead of the first step toward closing a major sale. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, typed quickly, then placed the phone face down. He asked if I wanted to order dinner. I told him I had already prepared something light. His attention moved on. He did not see the storage bins in the pantry. He did not notice the quiet momentum forming around him. A man who assumes security rarely checks his foundation.
That night, after he fell asleep watching television, I walked through the halls one more time. Each lamp, each fresh towel, each polished surface marked silent progress toward freedom. I stood by the staircase and listened to the quiet hum of the house. I felt fear earlier, that now I feel control growing under my skin. I would finish this. He would not sense it until it was too late. Could you act normally under the same roof while planning to take back everything, silently? Tell me in the comments.
I woke up before sunrise again. Habit. Preparation. A sense of purpose sits differently in the body than pain. Pain collapses. Purpose straightens your back. I stepped outside with a cup of tea and walked toward the pool. Morning air in Atlanta has a mild weight to it. Quiet enough to hear your thoughts, clear enough to see what matters. I skimmed leaves from the pool, as I always do. Routine helps keep suspicion away. As I lifted the net, something small caught my eye. A plastic bag lodged near the skimmer. I reached in and pulled it out. A flash drive. I stood still a moment. No label, no note, just a silent object holding answers. I walked inside, locked the back door, and went straight to my study. I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. A video file opened automatically. My heart did not pound. It held a slow, steady beat. The screen showed a chapel in Las Vegas. Not grand, not extravagant. A small space dressed in cheap flowers and bright lights. The sight did not sting. It annoyed me. Donald always pretended he valued taste. There he was in a suit that looked rented. He stood beside a woman in a white dress. Her hair styled softly, a small pendant on her neck. A minister stood before them, reading vows from a card. Then I heard Donald speak. His voice filled the room. Warm tone, steady cadence, the same voice he used each year when he made toasts about loyalty and family. He slipped a ring on her finger. She smiled. No guilt in her eyes, just belief. Then she repeated the vows back. Her voice trembled slightly, as if she thought she was getting a future instead of a mistake. A witness appeared. I recognized the face. Someone who sat at my dining table during the holidays. The camera panned back to the couple. Confetti. Awkward applause. It looked rushed, sloppy, careless, like a secret planned in a hurry by someone who believed himself untouchable. The ceremony ended. Yvonne turned toward the camera, eyes steady. She leaned closer. Her voice is clear. Brenda deserves to know. My name. Spoken without anger, without mockery. A simple truth delivered by a woman who did not look victorious. She looked tired, saddened, a little hollow. The video cut off. I leaned back in my chair, not in shock, not in heartbreak. Betrayal does not always explode. Sometimes it arrives slowly, stringing together small pieces until the full picture comes into view. I thought about her saying my name. I had expected rage toward the other woman. Instead, I felt a shift. She believed he was hers. She walked into a lie just as I had lived inside one. We were both caught in his arrogance. Betrayal hits more than one person when a selfish man hides the truth. I removed the flash drive and placed it in my locked drawer next to the marriage certificate. Then I opened the window blinds. The house filled with morning light. A house holds memory, but memory does not own me. I will leave soon. I will not carry shame. That belongs to him. The rest of the day, I staged rooms for the showing. Fresh cowls, neutral candles, straightened curtains. Donald called midday to say he would be late. his voice cheerful. Wise travel easily over the phone. I responded politely and returned to preparing my exit. When he finally arrived, he went to shower and change clothes. I stood at the kitchen counter, cutting fresh lemons for a bowl. The scent felt sharp and clean. He walked in smiling, kissed my shoulder, and asked if I wanted to go out to dinner. I told him I had already eaten. He nodded and poured himself a wine. He talked about business opportunities and upcoming travel. I listened with the patient expression he expected. My silence had become my strongest shield. He sat on the couch and turned on the television. I sat in my reading chair and pretended to follow a page. My mind held no chaos, just direction. He thought he controlled the story. He did not realize I had already written the ending. Would you ever watch a video of your spouse marrying someone else to understand the truth, or avoid it to protect your heart? Let me know in the comments below. I sat in the living room with a cup of chamomile tea cooling between my hands. The house felt still, staged, and almost too perfect. I had removed traces of my life, one room at a time. Each picture stored, each drawer cleaned, each cushion straightened. Retreat disguised as preparation, freedom disguised as order. The clock read a little past 11 when the doorbell rang. A sharp sound in an otherwise quiet house. I rarely opened my door at that hour. My first instinct was caution, not fear. Betrayal changes instincts. It turns softness into calculation. I walked to the foyer and checked the security camera on my phone. Yvonne stood outside. She was alone. No makeup, tired eyes, hair pinned back loosely. She did not look like someone ready to fight. She looked like someone who had learned she had been living in a lie as well. I opened the door halfway and kept the chain in place. "What do you need?" I asked calmly. She took a slow breath. "He told me you knew, that you agreed to separate and just needed time before telling your son." Her voice shook once, then steadied. I believed him because I wanted to. I studied her face, not as competition, as another woman caught in a storm she did not see coming. She hugged her arms as if holding herself together. "I found out last week he still lived here. I saw the photos from your charity gala in the paper. He said you two were only appearing together for reputation. I believe that too. I was proud of being discreet. I thought I was protecting his image. I feel foolish." I did not soften, but I did not turn cold either. "He lied to both of us." She nodded. "He promised we would move to Houston once he finished selling assets. He said you did not care about the house, only the social life." She looked down at her shoes. I started noticing gaps. I hired someone to check. That is how I found the Vegas block of documents. That is when I realized I was not stepping into a future. I was being used to decorate his ego. There was a long pause. I did not answer right away. Silence can offer dignity. She lifted her head slowly and met my eyes again. "He will come apart when he realizes what he did cost him both lives." He made his choices. My tone stayed even. Yvonne swallowed hard. "I am leaving Atlanta tonight. That is wise." She hesitated before speaking again. "If you want help taking him down publicly, I will give it." "No." My voice held firm. "I do not need noise. I have the truth and the law." Her shoulders dropped, not offended, just understanding. She stepped back. I respect that. I closed the door gently after she left and leaned against the frame for a moment. Not out of exhaustion, out of reflection. Some women chase fights to feel powerful. I did not need chaos. I had already won by staying grounded. Upstairs, I placed my teacup in the sink and wiped the counter. One simple motion. Order over drama. I checked the house one last time before bed. Every room neat, every piece in place. I walked past the bed Donald slept in and felt no anger, only distance. He thought loyalty lived here untouched. He forgot loyalty has a spine. Before turning off the bedroom lamp, I whispered silently, "Let him shout. I will never raise my voice." Calm is a weapon when used with purpose. Should betrayed women work together or protect peace separately, like I did? Comment and like if you support calm strength. I signed the final sale papers in Denise's office mid-morning. The pen moved smoothly across the page. No shaking, no hesitation. I did not announce victory. Quiet signatures carry more weight than loud revenge. The funds would hit my account within days. The house, which once felt like evidence of a shared life, now felt like a closing chapter. I left the office with a calm breath and an unhurried walk to my car. Atlanta traffic hummed around me, unaware that a marriage was quietly dissolving in the background. Back home, I opened windows to let fresh air in. I folded towels, rearranged sofa cushions, and checked subtle staging details. Preparing to leave feels like brushing dust off your shoulders before stepping out of a door forever. Everything that mattered stayed inside me, not in the walls of that house. The garage door opened earlier than expected. Tires rolled in. Donald walked inside, jacket slung over his arm. He set his keys down more slowly than usual. Something in the air unsettled him. He scanned the kitchen, then the living room, as if searching for a reason for his discomfort. "You have been busy," he said, forcing a light tone. "House looks different." "Just organizing," I answered gently. Routine protects secrets. He walked closer, eyes narrowing a little. "You okay? You seem distant." I arranged strawberries at the sink. "I am fine. Calm waters disturb guilty minds more than storms ever can." He watched me for a moment, then leaned against the counter. "I have been thinking about us. Maybe we should take a trip, reset, something quiet. Charleston, maybe." That suggestion almost amused me. He wanted a weekend fantasy to cover a double life. He wanted comfort while hiding chaos. "We will see," I said. He frowned. "You have been quiet for days. Are you upset about something?" I dried my hands on a towel. "I am not upset. Not a lie. Disappointment has passed already. What remained was clarity." He shifted, uneasy. "Look, if work is stressing you or you feel lonely here, talk to me." Lonely. A man with a second wedding certificate suggests I might feel neglected. That would have cut deeply years ago. Now it felt like noise from a fading source. "I appreciate the concern," I replied. He stepped back, studying me more intently. My steady tone unsettled him. He could handle tears, arguments, and dramatic scenes. He could win those. Silence confused him. Silence held power he did not understand. After a moment, he picked up his phone. His eyes flickered across the screen. Probably texting Yvonne or calling whoever helped build his new life. He placed the phone face down again, a habit of someone hiding things. He cleared his throat. "I have a meeting tonight. Might run late." "I figured," I said softly. Familiar lie patterns lose their sting when the truth stands stronger. His brows pulled together. "What does that mean?" "Nothing dramatic." I kept stirring the pot on the stove. Calm voice, controlled movements. He exhaled sharply, annoyance building. "You are acting strange, Brenda." "I am acting normal," I answered. Normal just looked different now because he was losing control. He sensed it without knowing why. The house no longer belonged to him in spirit or law. He felt a shift. Men like him always feel loss before they understand it. Around dinner time, he grabbed his keys and walked out. No kiss, no soft goodbye. The front door closed with more force than needed. His frustration came not from knowing the truth, but from not being able to read me anymore. I cleaned the kitchen slowly and set 3 moving boxes in the hallway. Not rushed, not panicked, measured steps toward freedom.
I folded blankets, placed labeled tape on the side of one box, and slipped sentimental letters into a travel bag. I would leave with dignity and memories, not bitterness. Later, I sat on the porch with tea. Streetlights glowed through magnolia leaves. Stillness wrapped around me. I felt steady. People assume betrayal shatters you. It can, but it can also sharpen you. Silence became a shield, not a prison. My future felt open, not empty. Do you think silence can hurt a guilty person more than yelling ever could? Share your thoughts below.
I woke up before dawn. A soft gray light sat outside the windows, and the air felt still. It was the last morning I would wake up in that house as someone tied to him. For years, I walked through those rooms with trust. Today, I walked through them with completion. I brewed coffee and placed 2 cups on the kitchen island. Habit, even now. Then I changed my mind and put 1 cup back. He no longer earned that place in my morning. I went to my study, opened the safe, and removed the Nevada marriage certificate, the forged deed copies, and the flash drive. I arranged them neatly on the dining table. Not dramatic, not angry. Visible truth in daylight. I sat in the living room chair with my coffee. The house looked immaculate from the staging. It resembled a model home more than a lived-in space. My suitcase sat by the staircase, boxes stacked in the hall. Everything ready. The front door opened around 8. Keys jingled, shoes hit the wood floor. Donald walked in briskly, phone in hand, talking to someone about scheduling a golf trip. He stopped mid-sentence when he saw the documents. Silence filled the room. He walked closer, picked up the marriage certificate, and stared at it. I watched his posture shift, not guilt first, panic. His face tightened, like he was trying to control a reaction and failing. He turned toward me. "Where did you get this?" I set my cup down. "It arrived. Certified mail." His jaw clenched. "You went through my things?" "No. The truth came to me." He pointed at the forged deed paperwork. "You do not understand what this is." "I understand perfectly." My voice stayed calm. "Your signature is fraudulent. The notary record will confirm it. The property belongs to me alone again." He stepped closer, chest rising and falling fast. "You cannot do this." "I already did." I stood up and walked to the window. "The house is sold. Funds cleared this week." He blinked, confusion blending with disbelief. "Sold?" The word came out unfamiliar in his mouth. "You sold my house?" "It was never yours to take," I said. "I protected what belonged to me." He raked both hands through his hair and paced. "You blindsided me." "You walked into this blindfolded by your own lies," I replied. He slammed his hand against the wall, not toward me. In the situation, the image of a man who used to control is now facing consequences. "You ruined everything," he said. "You ruined your promise," I answered. "I simply ended the performance." He stared at me like he did not recognize me. That suited me fine. The version of me who accepted crumbs no longer lived here. He grabbed his keys and phone. His voice cracked. "You will regret this." I doubt it. He stormed out. The door shook behind him. Tires screeched in the driveway. Then quiet returned. The kind of quiet that feels earned. I sat down again and breathed slowly. Relief did not roar. It arrived steadily. Strength does not always shout. Sometimes it sits with you like a steady heartbeat. An hour later, Louis arrived. When he saw the boxes, confusion crossed his face. "Mom?" I motioned for him to sit. He did. I handed him the Nevada document and the forged deed copies. He read silently. His face hardened. Hurt. Disbelief. Then protective anger. "I never want you to think this reflects on you," I told him. "Your father made his choices. I made mine." He nodded, jaw tight. "I am on your side." "I know." I placed my hand over his. We moved forward now. We did not hug with tears. We held hands quietly. That was enough. We loaded a few last items into my car. I took one final walk through the house. Not to mourn, to acknowledge. This space served its time. It did not define my future. I locked the door and placed the key in my purse. As I stepped outside, the air felt clean. Not dramatic, just open. Power comes when you do not need noise to prove it. I did not leave as a victim. I left as a woman who saw truth, protected her life, and walked forward with purpose. Did I choose the most powerful path by using strategy instead of rage? Comment, subscribe, and follow for the next story of quiet justice. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazy and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.